So welcome everyone. I'm Matt Ciallella from MC Rent Roll Breaking, and today I've got a special guest with me, a leading industry expert, facilitator, trainer, aficionado, Bob Walters. Welcome, Bob.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks for having me. Great to be here.
I also believe you're a bit of a jet setter. Last week, I believe you were, or recently you were in Bangkok, presenting to a real estate franchise network from the UK.
Yes, got an invite along with Tom Panos to speak at a conference being organised by a UK real estate group. They have about 100 offices, and they wanted a property management speaker, so I got the gig. Had a good time in Bangkok.
Yeah, good, great. Good to hear. It's good to do those things which are outside of Australia and to expose yourself to other franchise groups or networks outside of Australia.
Yeah, certainly property management's a little bit different in the UK compared to Australia, but like just about everywhere, everybody wants to grow their rent rolls. Yep. And that's why I was there, to give them some Aussie ways to build a rent roll. I've been in the industry now 43 years. I started when I was 18 in property management, and I've been in the property management space for nearly all of those 43 years. And as I'm approaching retirement, I figured I needed an exit strategy, and so last year I decided to sell my rent roll, but the way things panned out is we couldn't sell the whole rent roll because of the size and the dollar value of that particular rent roll. We just couldn't find someone to buy the whole lot, so I sold sort of the eastern half of my rent roll to a local agent.
Yep.
And kept the western half, and as things have turned out, two of my property managers have now bought into the business. So the way things are today, I'm sort of slowly transitioning out of the business, but still here every day of the week, still dealing with property management staff, landlords, tenants, and everything in between.
Good. So that leads me, I suppose, into my first question to you in regards to your journey in real estate, which has been quite a long journey in the sense that through different organisations and to be running your own business, True Property, and also with LPMA, which we touched on at the start. Did you imagine that it would be such a successful end result for you, bearing in mind that you're still quite active with True Property?
If you're owning a real estate business, we all start our businesses with lots of excitement, lots of energy, but in many cases we don't think about the exit strategy at the beginning, and in many cases you hit that point where you want to liquidate that asset or go and retire and lay on a beach, things like that, and so it's critically important, me being a bit of a anal retentive bugger and being a bit of a planner, I like to make sure that there's a plan for everything. So I've been planning my exit strategy for quite a while, and for me, in selling a rent roll, it's really about, it's like when you sell a home. It's very popular these days to get stylists in to present the home in the best possible way to get the maximum price, and it's very much true when it comes to selling a rent roll, to make sure that you properly style that rent roll, to make sure that all rents are up to date, that you've got management agreements for every property, that there are regular inspections occurring, and rent arrears and everything are all under control. But from a business owner point of view, I believe it's critically important that if you are planning an exit from the business, to be thinking about that at least sort of 3 years before you actually want to do it, to make sure that you get everything lined up in a row so that you can get the best possible result when the time comes to exit out.
You touched on a good point, and that is that in my travels as well with what I do, and probably when you approached me and asked me to help you with your sale, one of the first questions I asked was, what was your succession plan? And and were you motivated to really put this in practice right now and to do it? Because I find a lot of agents, principals are at the crossroads. They're a bit tired, looking to retire, but it might be too early for them to retire. So they have a vision of how to get out, but they don't necessarily know how to get out. And in your respect, it's a good example of a successful sale where you had a plan not to get out completely, and that was to phase it over a period of time.
Yeah, and it's critically important out there. I know I've been in the industry quite a long time, and I've actually I actually have a business agent's license, and I've brokered some rent roll sales of my own in years gone by. But I'm very much a believer in making sure that you get the right advice early on when you're planning these sorts of things, because and it's like even being a real estate agent, not selling your own home, to get somebody, a third party outside to do that, who's separated from the whole emotional side of things, who can give a fresh set of eyes, and often give the sort of advice that some of us may not have even thought of. So that's why certainly I look to you, because I know of your reputation in industry, the track record you've got as a business agent, and I obviously wanted the best result for my business, because the rent roll sale is basically our prime superannuation fund. And so we need to try and maximise it as best we can. So we were happy to pay someone like you, Matt, to get your advice and to representing us. And as it turns out, it was particularly worthwhile for us having you represent us, because at the time we did have two interested buyers, and luckily because of that, having two interested buyers, we made sure we got the best possible financial result for the business, which is more money to retire on.
And that brings me to my next question in respect to you. You've got a great business that over time you have been a strong advocate of not scrimping or saving on service, and not reducing fees and not reducing commissions. And from my part, it wasn't easy rent roll to work with, because you did have great commissions, great fees, not just the commission rate, but those sundries, extras and what have you. Did this play a big role in the success in terms of the great result you achieved?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, as we all know, when you're actually selling a rent roll, you get paid a multiplier of management fees, and so it's critically important that you maximise those management fees on every property. And I know there's a typical problem in this industry nationwide, and that is, even though there's heavy fee competition out there, there's a lot of agents competing for property management services out there. So the competition's certainly strong, but the sad thing in a lot of cases is so many businesses, when it comes to negotiating with a client, will actually negotiate the management fee commission rate, which is not only discounting your cash flow, it's discounting your asset as well. And so I've been on this crusade for many years, which many people know that if you're ever tempted to discount, and I'm certainly not advocating anyone to discount, but if ever you're tempted to discount for any particular reason, that the last thing that you discount is your management fee commission rate, because that's your asset value. And of course, what's in my view critically important to ensure that you make your rent roll, you style your rent roll to get the best possible price, is to maximise the ancillary and income that you get. Even though you don't get paid specifically for that, it's certainly like having a swimming pool in a house compared to a house without a swimming pool,
Yeah.
it means more interest, more buyers, chance of a better price if you've got a high percentage of your total revenue, which is all that sundry income, letting fees, inspection fees, monthly statement charges, tribunal representation fees for for internet marketing, etc., etc.
Okay, and you bring up a really valid point, a good point, and that is that it's very difficult with today the competition, and you're tempted to reduce fees and you're tempted to reduce commissions for owners. Are there any tips, just quickly, that you can give our audience in terms of how to counter that?
Well, for me, certainly what I have learned over my 43 years in the business is most prospective clients that you meet are not totally money conscious. Now, it's true that there are some price shoppers out there that are purely motivated by that, and we've all met them. But most people that you tend to present to will pay the fee you're asking if you can demonstrate that you're worth it. And sadly, that's where a lot of property managers crash and burn, is that they don't know how to reflexively demonstrate that they're better than somebody else. Because I know there's a widely held perception out there in landlord land that all property managers are sort of equally average, it's, if you really want to be ensuring you get maximum fees, it's what you do, it's what value you add to show the client that you're worth the extra fee. And I just love that saying out there that the cheapest property manager is not the one who charges the cheapest fee. The cheapest property manager out there is the one who puts the most money in your landlord's account.
Yeah.
Because it's the more money that you make from your investment, and that's not all about the a few bucks a week you're charging. It's all the other things you do to ensure that you maximise the client's return. It's regular rent reviews. It's having great marketing in place so you attract quality tenants quickly. It's making sure that you minimise rent arrears and that your inspections are good quality. That you then reporting to clients regularly that their property's not being poorly looked after. It's all those little things that you do that you can demonstrate that justify the fee. And as I said, most clients, I think, will pay your fee if you can demonstrate that you are adding value to them and that you'll put more money into their bank account every year as a result of that.
Yeah. As I think you pointed out before, you've got the luxury now of not being 100% responsible for the business, but can continue with the lifestyle you want of a bit of retirement, but also still active and still keeping yourself busy.
Yeah, well, I'm no longer the managing director of True Property. As I said, one of the property managers have assumed that role, but as I said, I'm here nearly every day of the week, at least for half a day, and so my role now has shifted to being more of a mentor to the boys, and also a training role. We have sort of regular training for the team, so I still get involved in that. I do touch landlord and tenant situations occasionally, but my role is more of sort of being a coach and a mentor as far as True Property is concerned.
Fantastic. So thanks, Bob. I really appreciate you taking the time out today and letting me come to your offices and chat to you. Your insights were very insightful, fantastic words of wisdom, some great tips in terms of fees, commissions to not reduce, not be tempted, but also some strategies for people to put in place as far as all principles and people looking to retire in respect to what you can do to achieve a successful sale. So thanks, Bob. Thanks for your time today.
Thanks.
If you'd like more information on a successful sale and tips and hints on how to achieve that, please go to my website or feel free to give me a call.